Joining us right now is RNC Communications Director Sean Spicer. Sean, good to see you.
Good morning, Maria.
How are you feeling about the Financial Committee and its goal? Do you think it can meet the goal of $1 billion in 6 months?
I'm really not sure where that goal came from, but I will say that I would echo what Eric Trump said, the enthusiasm and support that we're seeing from all areas of the country. And it's not just the big donors, it's the small donors who are excited to give $10, $15, $20 to be part of this movement, this effort that Mr. Trump has spearheaded to change America and make it great is something that we're seeing from all sectors. So the impressive thing is when you look at the list that came out yesterday, these are big people that play big, that have been involved in politics, that have a record of big success when it comes to political fundraising. And then when you look at the amount of enthusiasm and encouragement that we're getting from people who want to attend events, who want to host events, it is pretty amazing.
Sean, how is the building out of the ground game going, especially in those crucial battleground states like Ohio? The RNC has an infrastructure. The Trump campaign doesn't have much of an infrastructure. We know the Democrats have a very extensive battle plan already built up, and Hillary Clinton. And we've talked here before about the Trump campaign having some ground to make up. So how do you see that right now?
Right. I think one of the things that gets lost in the media narrative is that you've got a lot of Beltway reporters that, frankly, understand the differences between the two parties and the approaches that we take. On the Democratic side, and again, this is not spin, it's fact, it's all verifiable, look it up. The Democratic National Committee is in debt to the tune of about $500,000 rather, net. They continue to go further and further into debt under Debbie Wasserman Schultz. They have no ground game. Hillary Clinton does have staff in battleground states, but as you're well aware of, she's still fighting a primary battle against Barry Sanders, so her staff is dedicated to this. Conversely, since 2012, the one thing that Chairman Priebus made very clear is in the past, the Republican National Committee had a history of hoarding cash, raising a ton of money, waiting to the last 90 days, and blowing it all on television and some staff. What we recognize is that we need to build a year-round data and ground operation, and that's what we've been doing since 2012. We've put staff in battleground states in minority communities that have now been there 2-3 years. So when the Trump campaign emerged as the presumptive, is emerging as the presumptive nominee, they now have a field and ground staff that has been working in those battleground states for not just days and months, but rather for years. And I think that as they start to build out their ground game, they're going to have a huge heads up. So I would actually strenuously argue that we are well ahead of the Democrats in terms of the ground, and the numbers bear it out.
You know, Sean, speaking of battleground states, Ohio, the Republican convention is going to be coming up in just a matter of weeks in Ohio, and there have been at least rumblings in the press and rumors that Donald Trump is going to significantly change the agenda and the tenor of the Republican convention. Conventions, haven't changed very much in decades, even though the world has changed dramatically, and Trump has certainly shown us that in this campaign season. What can we expect from the Republican convention, and what will propel the Republican message out of that convention?
That's a great question. It's something over the next 60 days he and his team are working with a phenomenal team in Cleveland to add some of that pizzazz and excitement to the convention that he wants. You're absolutely right. In the last 30 years, it's sort of been a scripted television program. We knew what night everyone was speaking. We kind of knew the themes. I think what Trump wants to do is really add an element that is going to draw in more people and have record audiences, that people will tune in, want to watch something because it's not just going to be stale political commentary, and that they're going to get in there and hopefully hear a message about how to turn this country around and the solutions that we need to make America great. So I can't tell you that anything's been nailed down or that there's anything to announce, but I will tell you that the level of excitement that this team brings is welcomed by the team in Cleveland, and I think we're going to have a phenomenal convention, 4 days of really exciting discussion about the issues and solutions for this country.
Sean, how much money have you guys allocated for security, just given the violence that we were seeing in New Mexico outside of that Trump rally? How much more are you setting aside this go-round than even 4 years past? Because, again, they're going to try and make these protesters, these leftists are going to try and make a spectacle out of it.
That's right, Dagan. And I think, Secret Service is the point. This is what they call a national security event, something like the Super Bowl. This will be the first time that both conventions are under that designation, meaning that the Secret Service is the lead point on that. They coordinate with both the state and local authorities to make sure that the safety of the delegates, the reporters, and the guests are paramount. I think Cleveland's going to be an unbelievably safe venue because the Secret Service understands the task at hand, is going to do a great job. I will say that the reports that I saw last night are unbelievably troubling from the left, though. It's one thing to protest. I think all of us can agree that our First Amendment right is something that we all cherish, that everybody has an opportunity to get out there, express themselves, assemble. But when you're seeing folks on the left destroy public property, assault police officers, destroy public property, that's crossing the line. And I think it's interesting that the left that champions this free speech hasn't come out and condemned these acts of public violence, both against property and people of public servants. It's rather disgusting and discouraging what's happening, and I get your point.
Sean, I think that's so important. You just said that real quick. You know, you say that the GOP, or it looks like the GOP seems to be coalescing around Donald Trump, but then there's people like John Kasich who's telling his delegates, stay with me. I mean, what's going on with, Marco Rubio, John Kasich, who are holding on to their delegates? What are they expecting?
That's a great question, Maria. I think, look, they ran, and I think that they're still trying to figure out. They suspended their campaigns. I think they're trying to, maybe they're looking for some last bit of influence over the convention or the platform. I don't know. It's a good question, but I'll tell you that, as you pointed out, I mean, you're seeing almost the team really gets solidified real quick. The Republicans are unified. On the Democratic side, they've got a huge division, but it's not just a personality division on the Democratic side. You're hearing a real policy divide with Bernie Sanders, whether it's Israel, corporate issues, and I think that you're going to see this continued divide. 70% of Bernie Sanders say that they're willing to vote for Trump. There's continued movement to dump the chair of the Democratic National Committee. You want to talk about infighting. If you Google infighting, you're going to see a picture of the DNC, Hillary, and Bernie.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's amazing what's going on that side. It's true. Sean, thank you very much. Great insights from you as always.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
We'll see you soon. Sean.